All right. So now it is that your girl's recording. We can go ahead. We can jump into this next damn reaction. Now, in chat, y'all know who it is that this person is. I'm sure does this look like a familiar face. Since it is, we're mentioning PDFs or PDF files, if you will. We already know about who this particular person is. So, JBM Fargo, shout outs to you. EDP445 is currently begging for another chance. Well, so without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead. Let's jump into this next damn reaction, y'all.
So a few weeks ago, I made a video discussing EDP445's 80th attempt at returning to YouTube after a 3-year ban for trying to meet up with a minor for quote-unquote cupcakes. In that video, he basically said that he would use this new channel as a test run of sorts. And that's exactly what he's done, uploading everything under the sun, from sorry videos talking about his failed love life to Eagles rant videos, and even a rundown of his dialysis post-treatment for his kidney failure, which actually turned out to be true. Go figure. People in the comments of my last video were saying, don't give him attention, this is what he wants. And that is probably true, because his return video has over 140,000 views at the time of me recording this. And his channel will probably be on his way to being monetized if he didn't curse so much. But the one recent video that actually made me laugh out loud was this sorry excuse for an apology about the disgusting things that he's done over the years. Before I get into this fake apology video, I do want to say that I don't condone any bullying or harassment of any nature, even if he's a bad person. You could be critical of someone and their actions without all the extra BS. What I hope is that YouTube does their due diligence when it comes to people like him actively posting on their platform with seemingly no consequences. So the title of the video in question is Mistakes Were Made, basically implying what he did was a small infraction, which is far from the truth. I mean, the man had full explicit convos with an underage girl, even going as far as trying to meet them. Oh, and let's not forget him flexing to his audience that he was some kind of chick magnet when this was in fact the decoy.
Hey babe, let me give you a call back. I'm making a video, all right? All right, love you. All right.
Cringe. This is cringe. This is already cringe, bro. This is already cringe. Already cringe.
What you niggas know about that? Little nerd ass, no pussy getting motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
So you're talking about yourself. Alright, for sure.
Motherfuckers hating and shit. That's the boo thing. That girl's sexy as hell.
Now, EDP decided that it was best to turn the comments, likes, and dislikes off for this one. I do want to note that this is the only video that he has all these off, and I don't blame him. The comments under this video would have been ruthless. He starts this off by saying the quote-unquote trolls that continue to follow him around social media don't understand the concept of forgiveness, and talks about his mental state around the time that he texted the minor in 2021.
You're dealing
What?
with trolls when you're dealing with people on the internet who can just leave a comment and just run off to the scurries of their own, you know, hiding spots, is that there's no reconciling with these motherfuckers. There's no getting through to them. There's no, you know, trying to get these people to understand where you are at.
Bro, you're pointing fingers at everybody else other than yourself. There is a huge lack of accountability within your actions. Why do you feel it is that people should, like, well, first and foremost, within anything within life, you're not entitled to anything, and you're not entitled to go ahead and change somebody's mind or how it is that they feel about with you. That's one. Second, my thing is that, like, what you did is a very serious offense, especially in this lighting of social media, to where it is that, like, I mean, each month so far within 2024, we have discovered a new PDF file, an engager, if you will, you know, and talking to kids, man. And this has become such a terrible issue. You were caught doing this, and you just there's no level of just like taking the accountability. Your apologies is kind of just like, well, dang, I'm sorry it is that I got caught, versus like, a level of like getting through to you of the serious offense it is that you did. I mean, you not only what it is you're going through within life, trying to like, you know, I've seen it is that he's been like trying to re get a new job and he's been trying to live life like that. But like you, there's a deep level of unlearning habits because you thought that like that was obviously like a taught behavior to go ahead and to do that and think it is that's okay. Second, like you can't just sit there and be like, oh well, there's no getting through to people. This is and this. No, there's no getting through to you because you're thinking it is like, oh, you're just gonna bounce back on a platform after it is that like you are known, like what you are known for is trying to meet up with an underage girl for cupcakes. Like there's no if ands or a buts about that, bro. That like that you need to have accountability. That's not me saying anything harsh. That's not me bullying him. That's not me doing anything like that. I just want that to be clear. But you need to have a level of accountability. Like you have to have that level of accountability within the actions of what it is that you got caught doing. Like come on, bro.
At that point in time in your life, you know, addressing what happened a few years ago, the whole incident and stuff like that, I'll be the first person to tell you I was in a very dark place in my life, very dark place.
It's so pathetic how he tries to use his deteriorating mental health as a reason why people should even consider giving him another chance. I heard he likes football, so let me break down what his play is here. The only reason why this is even being addressed at this current moment is to appeal to the handful of dedicated fans that he has left, just so the internet can't say that he never addressed it. This is probably one of the worst apologies I've seen on YouTube, and probably worse than his last one. I'm gonna keep
As much as he's done some very terrible attempts with apologies, but he's not the worst apology video it is that I've seen on YouTube. I've seen quite a lot of people who have been caught with doing all different types of outlandish things, and then they come to the platform to say it is like, oh, I'm sorry. This is like you're sorry because of the fact that is them checks is now being affected, but you're not sorry about what the actions it is that you are being basically alleged or accused for. And this is why it is like the apology videos on YouTube will always get like a bad name to it because it doesn't come from a genuinity. Like you're always gonna get a damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes down to those situations. But a lot of times it's just like a you really shouldn't have done this within like I mean, we've seen all different types of things. We've seen people sing songs and then copyright the damn song, which is weird. We've seen people self-promo themselves throughout an apology. We've seen people go ahead and say it is like, oh yeah, I'm sorry for this and this, and then go ahead and do the same thing, and make excuses and stuff like that. It's like, come on, come on, come on.
keep rolling the clips for y'all.
Had the fame, had the money, you know, had the status, you know. I thought that I couldn't be touched and paid the price for it, you know. Now, one thing I want you guys to understand, you know, another thing I want you guys to understand it, and of course, you know, there's going to be those motherfuckers out there, oh, EDP, just because you were in a dark place, that doesn't justify what you did.
See, that's how it is with a lot of these influencers, man. I swear to God, bro. When y'all get to a certain spot, a certain level of fame, y'all feel like nobody can touch y'all. I can just touch kids. Like, bro.
Oh my god, bro, crazy saying. What I'm going to go ahead and say is that this with the level of doing content creation, I'm very mindful when it is that I say this, is that this doing stuff of doing like streaming, YouTube, all like TikTok, IG Reels, or whatever it is that you do your content on, it is not guaranteed. It's not. Even with doing YouTube, YouTube has probably one of the longest longevity platform than anything else. Where at the end of the day, it shouldn't be your end all be all result. And anything can happen at any given time. You could be at the top of the world with getting all different types of like sponsors, like brands, all that type of stuff, and then it could be gone within the next day, based off of by your actions, based off of by your past. It could be the slightest thing. It could be you just chilling and be friends with somebody that be on something fugazi, and then by association, it is that people are gonna go ahead and attach you to that too. There's so many different things that can happen while doing content creation, which is why I'm always going to be honest about with people who ask me if this is something it is they want to do. You got to ask yourself this question at the end of the day. Are you willing to be prepared for whatever happens while doing this? And I mean anything that even including invasion of privacy too. Trust me, that's another thing that goes ahead. Like you have to worry about as well. You got to ask yourself that question, and then you got to ask what I am doing for my platforms to make money off of this. Because again, being on this and doing this as a job or a career is a considered a dream job. I say it's a privilege. What are you willing to do to get to that level of status and fame? And a lot of times people answers for this is very scary. That is a very scary thing to think about what people will do, especially the younger generation, like Gen Z and Alpha, that look at this and be like, oh, well, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to go ahead and do this and this. But you don't know what the price it is that you pay. There's always a sacrifice. There's always a consequence. There's always something that you have to pay in order to do this. And you got to really think about that. You can lose it all. The fact that just so quickly the way it is that you gained it. Prime example, look at all the stuff it is that's happening with Ice Spice currently. Ice Spice was somebody that's on top of the world and everything like that. And now there's so many damn allegations about with her being spoke about, you know, she doing like her being a terrible friend, her doing all different types of like gestures and stuff like that after a prayer, all the other stuff. Y'all haven't heard about it. I literally was reading up about this earlier today before I went to the gym. It could be it could be at any moment it is. You could be at the top of the world and then you could lose all of it at the same time. Your ignorance will be your downfall. Absolutely. That's the best way to put it.
Bro, I just don't understand that shit, bro.
First off, don't try to put fucking words up in my mouth. We're not here for that shit. I'm here to explain to you where I was at in my headspace a few years ago. You know what I mean?
I want to hear about this dark place in your head because I just want to know what made you just want to talk to younger girls. I mean, weren't you in a relationship with an older woman that had a kid or was a teacher or something like that? I mean, why couldn't you just stick with the same age group? You know what I mean? Why you gotta go all the way down to the minors and stuff like that? Like,
You want to know why like people go down to like to this? There's a reason why it is that people do this. People go for younger, much younger than what it is that they are. It's because of the fact they're more easily impressionable. You don't have to sit there and do all the explaining and stuff like that, because when you get across somebody of your age or older and they see through your bullshit, you can't sit there and try to manipulate or do any of those things to that person. They see you for what it is that you are. You can sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm the shit and I got this, I got the money and stuff like that. And there's a person that can sit there and be like, no, you actually be up on the bullshit. And that's why it is that you're single. That's why nobody wants to be with you. That's why it is that people do it. I've seen both men and women go for younger. And here's my thing. As long as it is that you are both consenting adults, I know people feel indifferent about age gaps and stuff like that. Hell, you could be sitting there and playing. It could be a 2-year age gap, and there's some people will sit there and say something out loud, about with that. But you gotta be out of your rabbit mind if you think it is that going for somebody as a minor is acceptable in any formality. That was good, Sean. Of course, I'll play the new God. Of course, I got that thing pre-ordered. We about to play that right after this, actually. So why do you think that many male content creators are single? I wouldn't say that. I would not say that. As somebody it is that is a content creator and that knows a lot of content creators, both men, women, and for my they thems, there's an appearance of being single. Just because it is that somebody is doing content creation and stuff like that. Again, doing this as an online persona, you could be whoever it is that you want to be. That's the downside and the dangerous side of doing content creation. You can create whatever persona it is that you want to be at the end of the day. But you'd be surprised how many people it is that are absolutely indeed dealing with people or a few other people at the same different time or got something that you do not know as the audience. I promise you. You may think it is that these people are single, but they're not. They just don't want that outside persona to know the truth about themselves of what it is that they do. Trust me, I can give you a whole list rundown of people in this who do that. Now, as somebody, this is a creator, I understand the level of privacy. I understand it is that y'all don't need to know who it is or what it is that I'm doing behind the scenes. You're only here to see me do my content creation and stuff. That's it. But then there's people it is who are not genuinely honest about what it is they do behind the scenes. And then they come to these platforms, create these personas, and then the people, even audiences, start being like, there's something about this character that I can't put my finger on just yet. There's something about him, but eventually something's gonna pop out, and then and then come to find out it is a person that you've been watching, or like you really enjoyed, like you supported, you really enjoy stuff like that. Come to find out they're a fraud. Come to find out it is they're a PDF file. Come to find out it is like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's stuff about them. It's just like, they have skeletons in the closet they didn't want the outside audience to know. I've always said this before. Anything it is that happens on this platform, the first thing it is that people do is attack the audience, attack the brand, attack the money. Like that, those are indeed facts. Those are indeed facts. So this is why I'm always being mindful of this. I'm not, as much it is that like I'm gonna advocate for keeping it real, but I am also not perfect as well. I know that there's somebody just like, hey, listen, Ari's a fraud, okay? She's a phony, she's a fraud. I'm sure it is that there's somebody it is that feels a little indifferent about me. But at the end of the day, whenever it comes down to it, or I may just say it myself of like, hey, listen, I done this, and this, and I'm gonna keep it pushing at the end of the day. Because like, this is what the brand it is that I built. But it's one thing for me to go ahead and be honest about with those things, and then there's other things where it is that like you are wholeheartedly doing things to people it is you ain't got no damn business doing whatsoever, and then now you want to play victim and put the finger blaming on everybody else other than you. I side eye a lot of content creators. I think other content creators side eye each other, to be honest, and that's not saying that as a bad thing. It's just unfortunately it is that it's the truth.
Just want to know what was going on in your life.
The only thing that you can do as a human being when you make a mistake to this magnitude is to take responsibility for your actions, take accountability for your actions.
That's good hands. How are you?
Understand that there is an issue.
I've been streaming a lot lately.
Right.
Period.
Understand that this is not normal. You know what I mean? To have these type of behaviors, they are not normal, right? Get the necessary help, whether it's talking to a psychiatrist, talking to a therapist. It can even be as simple as sitting down and talking to your family members.
I'm gonna say something that's probably not unpopular, but may be unpopular. I just don't think that talking to a psychiatrist, your family, talking to anybody in general about these types of behaviors is gonna solve anything. I feel like once you have these kind of thoughts, it's just ingrained in you. It's just who you are.
To be honest with you, it depends. Even though there's like a lot of people like to throw you should go to therapy, this and this. Therapy is only going to work to where it is that you are willing to unlearn and then relearn new habits. That is the only reason to why it is like that will work. Going to therapy is just a lot of times just people just venting, but they're not taking in the levels of sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people genuinely don't have people it is that they can organically talk to, let alone to trust. So you have that. So then you go to therapy to flush out your feelings at the end of the day. And then you get this regressive state to where it is, I just exposed everything it is that I was ever feeling to somebody. The person is that I don't know. This isn't it. Some people do feel those ways about going to a therapist. And then instead of trying to figure out how to get past all that stuff of just what it is you're going through, PTSD, triggers and stuff like that, then you go through a whole opposite effect. You don't want to go back to therapy. You don't want to go and talk to nobody. I know a lot of people that would rather prefer to talking to God versus talking to a human being, anybody. You know what I mean? But if somebody it is, I've always said this before, I'm currently doing adolescence and child psychology. Children do not come out of the yin yang with those thoughts. Those are things it is that are taught by adults or parents or a parent that is around them and stuff like that. So there is a deep level of unlearning habits and trying to figure out the source of where did this come from. A lot of times it is that what we've gone through. Like I've even like we've gotten some whoopings before. We've gotten things to where it is that we can't, you know, or like for like, instance for me constantly always apologizing because of the fact that is I wasn't able to express myself as a child. Learned where that came from. Learned of different behaviors it is that you do for as an adult that carried on from childhood and stuff like that. Everybody has levels of things to where it is of their background based off of their parents, guardianships, or the people around them, their family, their friends, to where it is that they learn these things from. But not realizing that one, it's an issue. Second, to go seek help. A lot of times it is we get to our adulthood because we've been conditioned for maybe a decade or two before it is we start to realize that this is a problem. Then it's almost taking your entire adulthood. And this is not even including if you got kids. If you got kids now, it's almost repeating the cycle all over again. And then they learn these habits, good or bad or indifferent, whatever these habits are. Now they learn it because they're learning it from you because that's, to a kid, you are their first teacher, their first love, all of those things. You teach them everything. You teach a child everything when you become a parent, right? So imagine never going ahead and getting that proper help it is that you need because it is you learn these things from your parents. The parents learned everything from their parents. The parents learned everything from, back in like levels of like the Jim Crow era and stuff like that. Then now you got to keep going further and further back and whatnot. It is a endless cycle of these things. And it is an endless cycle when it comes down to like things that you ain't had no damn business doing. I've talked about this even with R. Kelly. R. Kelly is an example of this, of the nasty, diabolical, disgusting things it is that he's done. He learned it from his mother. He learned it from, I think it was like an aunt. I think it was like an aunt within his family that was doing inappropriate things with them kids. I think it started from the mother and the aunt. There are videos of him talking about like his mother. Like he had a deep infatuation about his mother. Like his mother would would allow him to drink coffee, but she would like drink coffee first and have like lipstick on it, and he'll drink after. These are videos it is that he has talked about before. Like these are open videos. Like that's not me bullshitting. Like he's actually said these things before in interviews. The signs is there. So therapy, again, going back to this, therapy is only going to work if the person is not only understanding what their issue is a problem and willing to unlearn the habits. The unlearning part is always going to take the longest because you've been conditioned to do this, however many years or however long it is that this has been, to then learn a new habit. That's where it is that like people get messed up on the most. But let's get back to this.
Like, I don't feel like these types of people can be recovered, can be, rehabilitated in general. Like, I don't think that these people can be saved. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's wraps for them. Like, I feel like these types of people just need to be locked up and just sent somewhere and, they live the rest of their lives away from society.
I mean, well, a funny story about with that, besides, American jails originally was supposed to be rehabilitation centers, but that's now become a thing for outside of the U.S. and other countries and stuff. They really take that very seriously. It's not so much of just like punishment, just locking them up and just putting them away and whatnot like that. That does something to a person's psyche even worse than what it like than other things. But the rehabilitation center was originally what jail was supposed to be for. Depending on what it is that they got locked up for, it was a level of teaching them of like what it is that they did was bad, why this is bad, X, Y, and Z, blase, blase, and that goes based off of behavioral improvements and stuff like that. If they're given a chance to go back outside into the American society, and then if they continue to keep doing the cycle, then it is they start cracking down on more of a harsher punishment when it comes down to that. But American jails is not set up that way. If they realize it is that they can able to make money off of inmates while they're in there not making barely anything. So that's a whole nother story within itself. The only reason why it is that I know about this because I was a criminal justice major for a little bit within school, so I learned quite a bit about that.
I don't think they should be able to contribute to whatever society that we have right now, whether good or bad. I don't think that these people deserve to be in normal civilization.
Overall, just trying to make sure that the same mistake doesn't happen again and you learn from your mistake. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I don't think it takes getting caught to know that you shouldn't talk to an underage girl. I mean, it shouldn't be something like it's a mistake or anything like that. Like I said earlier, this is something that you just don't do. This is not an oopsie daisy. Oh, I'll never do it again. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not like when you talk to your parents, when you get in trouble, it's not going to happen again. Like, no, it just shouldn't happen. Like, this should not happen at all.
And just try to improve yourself as a person. If that's not good enough for people, well, then that sounds like a fucking personal issue to me. Now, a lot of people,
wrong way to go about it.
They like to assume, right? Just because I haven't came out and made some big ass crying video, you know what I mean? Making a fucking ass out of myself, all hysterical on camera and shit like that, that I show no remorse. That couldn't be any more further from the truth. You know what I mean? What I want you guys to realize is the fact that I have sat down and I have apologized to my family.
He's gonna say it's a personal problem because we're expecting an actual apology, not just some, oh, the actions that day, sorry for all the people affected, we'll just move along like nothing happened, and I'm sorry for what my family had to go through. Not I'm sorry for talking to this girl, texting this girl this, saying that, doing this, doing that. You didn't give us the whole rundown. You just basically brushed it off like, oh, it was a minor infraction, let's just move on.
Right.
I'm sorry for what happened with my family, all the, threats or whatever was going on, whatever messages they got, the embarrassment. That's all you said. We didn't expect you to get on here crying. We just expected an actual adult response, an adult apology, accountability, not just, oh, that happened and it was in the past and I had a mindset that I don't have now. My mental is not the same as it was back then, and yeah, let's just move on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
So
you can't do that.
there are literally 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, you know what I mean, DMing me, hitting me up on Instagram, and they'll fucking type this message and they'll be all like, oh my God, are you the real EDP? And the moment I respond with, yes, I am, what they'll do, right? And they think that they're fucking sneaky about this shit, right? Malicious intent. You feel me? I made a video a long time ago, and it was a video where I talked about, obviously, adults should be held accountable, and they should be
Okay, so throughout this whole time, what I'm noticing is he does not know what the fuck he wants to say. Now, as a YouTuber, I tend to edit things out when I mess up, kind of like messing up my words and shit, mumble jumble, I'm saying, saliva flying out my mouth and shit, and I gotta re-record. But this nigga right here does not know what the fuck he wants to say. I mean, like, I've seen apologies on YouTube, I've seen people addressing things, but this is probably the worst attempt I seen at somebody addressing the internet. Like, bro, you gotta know what you're saying before you get on here. Like, it's just simple as that, bro. You've been doing YouTube longer than me, and I do a better job of that shit.
I also feel minors should get in trouble for messaging adults. You feel me? Having a very malicious intent behind their messages.
You should blame the minors. We should.
Okay, so here we are. We're finger pointing once again. We are finger pointing once again. Instead of taking that level of like, hey, you know what? Some things it is like you a grown ass man at the end of the day. There's certain things it is that you shouldn't even be like giving energy to or even responding to and whatnot, especially with the amount of attention it is you received from the cupcake situation. I would have laid low. I wouldn't have sat there and been replying to yes I am and stuff like that. You're already setting yourself up for disaster by doing that by itself. Again, I am not disparaging this man in any form of way because it is like, I don't want people to be thinking it is that I'm bullying them. But you have to really be mindful of those things. Your finger pointing to saying it is that these kids should be getting in trouble for messaging these adults. But that's that's not the biggest issue at this point. The biggest issue is you entertaining, replying, and speaking to these minors. And you already was caught before being inappropriate with people with minors. So to add fuel to the fire, and then even worse, you're pointing blame towards the minors, saying it is that they should be getting in trouble, is not the appropriate setting for that. It's not. It's just not the appropriate setting for that. So I'm about to crash out. Let me chill. Like I was like, for him to say that is like, that's bad. A bad approach.
Should blame the parents. We should blame this person, blame that person. Blame everyone but me.
Yourself.
You know what I'm saying? Blame everyone but me for falling for the trap, the clear trap, falling for it as a horny motherfucker. Blame every single person but myself for my actions. I mean,
Yep.
EDP, this is just nothing new. I mean, we expected this.
Which ultimately leads to harassment, right? Showing up at your job, tracking where you work at, showing up at your dialysis center, you know what I mean? Trying to find out, what type of community that you live in, right? Storming the leasing office and shit like that, storming HOA offices and shit like that, you know what I mean? Fucking with you out in public at the grocery store, you feel me? Throwing shit at your motherfucking window as you're at a stoplight when somebody recognizes you.
Now, this is the part that I can actually agree with him when it comes to this, but to a certain extent. Now, you're EDP445. You did some fucked up shit on the internet, and people are fucking with you, harassing you, which I do not condone at all. I mean, leave the nigga alone, you know what I'm saying? Like, leave the nigga alone. Let him wallow in his despair and his fucked up life as he describes it. But one thing that you have to realize, EDP, realize that you're EDP445. You did some fucked up shit on the internet, and this is your livelihood. You can't expect everyone to have the same type of mindset. I'm not going to say sympathy for you. The same type of mindset when it comes to approaching you in public or seeing you in public, because people don't give a fuck, my nigga.
That's true. That is extremely true. People, even if like you was just a regular person, you know what I'm saying, just chilling, everything like that, like even like organically, like people will recognize streamers and stuff like that, and then just feel the need to harass them or say something outlandish on like social media and stuff like that. Again, people are going to be people, and people honestly don't care about how it is that you're feeling and stuff like that. But unfortunately, this is the price it is that comes with what it is that you did. Now, on the flip side, I will say this as well. I don't condone in harassing this man. I don't condone in harassing anybody, and especially it is to this magnitude. If there was supposed to be something in this that should have really happened, then it should have been law enforcement. Let them go ahead and handle the situation if they are going to at this point. They're the only people it is that should be doing that. But for people to kind of step in and just doing that, it does an opposite effect. It also will get you in trouble versus the person is that should be getting in trouble. Ironically, that it's crazy to say that, but I have seen stuff like this before of like, oh, this person should be banished, this person should be punished, this, and this, and you're harassing this person, and then on the flip side, you get in trouble because as you are harassing somebody, like for no damn reason. You know what I mean? That's one thing it is that I can say is like, all right, that I can understand that part.
Nigga, they're gonna do anything they want to do, and especially when it comes to somebody like you that did what you did. I mean, people don't have no sympathy for that. Correct. You just gotta accept it.
I don't give a how you try to paint the situation, how much you try to dress it up. That is a malicious act, and it's up.
I like how this whole time throughout this 9 minutes that I'm at actually right here, that you failed to talk about this dark place that you were in, and you just completely derail and completely try to deter and deflect everything that you were talking about to talk about some shit that makes you seem like a victim. And that right there is exactly what the play is for him. That's literally what he does. Like, he wants people to feel sorry for him, have sympathy for him. And man, I know exactly why you turned off the comments and the likes and dislikes, because bro, this is horrible. Holy shit.
You know, half-assed apology video where I had the Barack Obama voiceover. Like I mentioned before in the earlier stages of the video, there's no reconciling with these motherfuckers. You feel me? There's no winning with these niggas on fucking line. You feel me? Not even if you're trying to win. You're just trying to get them to understand where you were from a mental standpoint back up in the day. And no, that's not justifying the shit.
It actually is justifying the shit. I mean, and I'm glad you actually mentioned that that apology was actually ass. Like, bro, the apology was half-ass. It was half-baked. It was bullshit. And I'm glad you actually owned up to that. That's literally the only fucking thing you owned up to. Literally the only thing that you owned up to this video.
Because I knew deep down, right, no matter how fucking apologetic I was, no matter how fucking sorry I was, or whatever the f, they're going to throw that bullshit at you. Oh, you're only making the video, and you're only crying in the video because you got caught.
That is a fact.
I mean,
I remember when that whole sting, or not the sting operation, the expose situation where he got caught or whatever, this man was in tears. He said, "My life is over." Yo, he fell down to his knees, bro. His life was in shambles, bro. Like, he knew everything was over from that point. And that's why I said in the first video that I made, or the last video I made about EDP 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago at this point, that yeah, this shit was basically the end of his career as we knew it. You feel what I'm saying? So it was facts.
You need to take accountability and responsibility. You need to cam up and address your fans. The only people that I need to address are my friends and my family members that I hurt deeply by.
what about your audience? What are we forgetting the base? Are we forgetting about that? It's not a level just like friends and family and stuff like that. It's more of like, you gotta apologize to everybody it is that's around you, and also it is that you are a known person on a platform, and then you also got caught on a platform. So this is where it is the sincerity gets misconstrued, because you're going about this the wrong way. And then you're trying to like get people to sympathize with you. This is not how it is that you go about it. That's me just being very honest with you. You're not apologizing to the people it is that put you up at the pedestal to where it is that you were. That's the biggest thing when it comes down to that. It's not just a letdown with friends and family, excuse me, but it's a letdown of the people it is that looked up to you, that watched your videos, that related to you, or hell, if somebody it is that's a damn Eagles fan as much as it is that you are. That's where the genuinity is always going to get skewed in this, because you're not trying to be sincere to the people it is, your audience, the fan base, the bread and butter. You know what I'm saying? That's where that's going to mess you up every time.
My actions. Those are the only people that I need to address, and that I have addressed privately.
And what did I say? He's literally going to bring up that he addressed it already. This is literally the play. This is his mindset, that since I addressed it already, I don't have to say anything else. I don't have to own up, but I do have to play victim. I do have to have a little bit of a grift going on with my little bit of supporters that I have left, to just let them know that I am still here for y'all. I'm still here to make content, and I'm just trying to move on from the situation. Can we just forgive me? Please forgive me. So one thing I do want to note from this whole video, like I said earlier, he does not know what the fuck he wants to talk about. He just says shit in front of a camera. I feel like he's been lying to himself this whole entire time, telling himself these lies. So it's just the truth for him. It's just like, I'm the victim. I am being done wrong. At first it was, oh, it was a setup, such and such and such. Now he's kind of saying that, oh, mistakes were made and I was in a dark place. Just little by little, you think he's finally gonna own up, and then he snaps right back into victim mode. Man, EDP445, bro. But let me know what you guys think about this, man. Honestly, I feel like the man should be banned from YouTube. Like, why is YouTube allowing people like this on their platform that people have literal proof of him doing some fucked up shit? I mean, YouTube, bro, we gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. But let me know what you guys think. Like I said again, it's Fargo, and I'm out, man.
This is why it is that I've been saying that, you know, as somebody it is that does content creation, again, it's not the end. YouTube should not be the end all be all, but don't get me wrong. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of discoverability that you can able to make on this platform. But to end out on this note, I am going to, again, reiterate on to the things of, if this is something it is that you want to do of content creation, you always need to be mindful of the things it is that you do and what things it is you have done before in the past. And ask yourself this question: if there was ever those things was ever come out, how would that affect you? And would you be able to still do the things it is that you want to do with what is considered a dream job if people was to know the truth? Let alone, do you feel the need it is that you should able to right your wrongs before it is that happened, so you can able to move forward with doing content creation? Again, doing this is considered a dream job, but there is a lot of consequences that can happen, and there is a lot of things that you can able to lose. You could lose it all that quickly doing this. So ask yourself that question of how far levels of lengths it is are you willing to do? Are you willing to go for this? But JBM Fargo, so shout out to you. Thank you so much for the video. Shout out to y'all in the chat. And shout out to you at home. I'm curious to know what it is that you guys have to say about this as well. I will catch y'all in the next video.